Alright, so once you've done that, we've basically linked up everything we need. Just close the assistant editor. Go back into the view control. Go into the view controller of Swift. So you can see here's the exact same file that we worked with, and you can see all of the files are linked. So now you're in the view controller.swift file, and what you want to do is you want to start making the code for the relevant actions we need. So we need the moon to move down behind the mountain, change into the sun, and then we need the sun to come back up. Whilst this is happening, we need the night sky to gradually change to daytime as well. So this is when the moon. So when the moon is behind the mountain, the sun has not yet risen. I'm going to call that phase of the sky half day, just for ease of use. So what you want to do is head over to the IB action. So this is the action. So we're going to write some code here once the wake up button is pressed, and we're going to say UI view dot animate with duration. So you can see here that Xcode actually gives you some options, and you can look around for which options you want, and we actually want the first one. So when it says with duration, it means how long you want this animation to occur. So obviously we want the moon to go down, so let's say we want that to last maybe 1 second, and then if you click tab, it's going to take you to the next bit you need to fill in. And here, just type in just open a curly bracket, sorry. So in order to do that, what we have to do is we'll just open a curly bracket and then click enter. Okay, so I've just decided that I'm not going to show you how to do this as it is. I'm going to basically speed up the video and going to show you the final code. Okay, so I just sped through all the process, and I'm going to show you what exactly I've done. So you can see here that I have created, so we created all the outlets, and what I've done over here is I'm going to get back to this 2 lines code just in a bit. And what I do is when you want to write something it's called a comment, and you do it for point of reference for yourself. So what happens is you do 2 forward slashes, and then you can write whatever you want. And then what this means is this whole line, entire line here, becomes a comment. So you use this comment when you're trying to, speak to different employees or different colleagues, or you just want to have a note for yourself. So when you run the program, Xcode runs every single piece of a line, but a line that has 2 forward slashes in it. So just skip that line and carry on. So what I do for my own point of reference is just say something like hide status bar, write the code for hiding the status bar like here, and then I do another comment saying hide status bar end, so I don't ever get mixed up between all these, because I tend to get mixed up between all these curly brackets, and it causes an issue for me. So by doing this, I always avoid them. So what I've done here, I've created a comment saying hide status bar, and this is the code you need to write to hide the status bar on your screen. So what I've done is override, so that basically means override the current variable called status bar hidden, and I'm going to say return true. So what that means is I'm going to override this code here, and as you can see, it's a bool. A bool basically means either like false or true or false. And then what I've done at the moment, default it's set to false, hence why you always see the status bar, and we want it to be true, so we say return true. That's all it is. It's very simple. So then I say hide status bar end. So now we focus on the wake up button. So obviously the wake up button is where all the code takes action. So you can see here I've done UI view dot animate with duration 1 animation something something something. So what this means is I'm animating, so you can see I say dot animate. So I'm animating a UI view. A UI view is basically an object that views some kind of information, like an image or a label or anything. So in our case it's a UI view dot animate, and when it says with duration, it means how long do you want the animation to last. So over here what I'm doing is I'm changing the sky to half day, and I'm also moving the moon down. So it's asking me how long I basically want the moon to move down to behind the mountains. So I said 1, so that basically means 1 second. So you can change it to whatever you want. If you change to 60, it's going to take 60 seconds for the moon to go down to below the mountains. So after you've done that, I've done animations, and I've opened another curly bracket, and once I've done this, you write some more lines of code. So I've done self.wakeup is hidden. So what this means is the wake up button is hidden. So it's like an attribute. It's a way of saying this property of this button. So a property of this button, so in this case wake up button, so it's very confusing. I called the wake up button wake up, so I can't really explain it without sounding a bit confusing, but I hope it makes sense. What I've done here, don't worry about what the self means, I'll cover that later on. So I've done here the wake up button dot is hidden is equal to true. That basically means once this animation starts, so once someone hits the wake up button, I want the wake up button to become hidden, so it disappears from the screen. So that's why I said true. If this was false, it would just stay there remaining on the screen. But because it's true, I've said I want it to be hidden now, so now it's going to be hidden. So that's all it does. The next line of code is this one over here. So what it says is astro object, so remember that's the moon or the sun, depending on what it is. At this time of day, it's actually the moon. I've said the astro object dot frame, so it is, when I say frame, it means the position of it on the screen. And I've said I want it to go to this coordinate here, I want it to go to this x coordinate and this y coordinate and have a width and a height of 53. So all it means is that if you look into a storyboard, I want it to have a width and a height of 53, and I want it to go down to the coordinates 181 and 500 and something, which is all the way down here. So that's when the moon goes down. That's all it is. It's very simple so far. And then I've created another UI view.transition, so it's like another sort of animation, but this isn't necessarily an animation as such. It's just a transition, so that you know how in PowerPoint you have like cross dissolve, fade in, fade out, and all of that. So what I want is I want the night sky to change into half day, and obviously it doesn't just snap into a half day, it doesn't just change into half day instantly, it slowly progresses. And in order to slowly progress something, we're going to have to like fade it in slowly. And in Xcode, in Xcode and Swift 4, to fade something in, we use this line. We say UI view.transition with, so when I says with, it means what object do you want me to transition, and I'm specifying I want to transition time of day, and then it asks me how long, so duration is how long do you want it to the transition to take place, and I'm saying 3 seconds. So over 3 seconds it's going to be fading in to something else, which I'm going to be explaining in a bit. So and then it says options, so we want it to fade in. So for that, the way Xcode recognizes fade in is dot transition cross dissolve. So there are other types of options like dot transition, I think flicker, spin. Actually, you change it. So if I just change it to dot transition, you can see that there's transition dot curl up, curl down, flip from top, flip from right, flip from left, flip from bottom, and then all this. But we want transition dot cross dissolve. That basically means it fades in. Every single pixel just slowly becomes into the opposing the new image. And then the next variable it's asking for is animations. In animations, what we specified here is I want the time of day image. So you can say dot image is an attribute of time of day. So this is the main reason why we create an outlet. So an outlet basically gives this image view some attributes, such as dot image, dot is hidden, dot enabled. We're able to access all of those attributes. So what I've done here is saying time of day dot image now becomes half day. So if you look up here, I've added 2 new lines of code saying let half day is equal to this image and let new day is equal to this image. So what this basically means, we're declaring a variable. So we're declaring a variable called half day, and then I'm saying that it's equal to an image named half day. If we go into our assets folder, you can see there's an image called half day. If we're going back, you can see let a new variable called new day equal to an image named day. So what it says is this variable called new day is linked to an image called day, and if you go back into your assets folder, you can see there is another image called day. So that's all these 2 lines of code does. So then we say obviously change it to half day, and then when it says completion, I put it to nil. Don't worry what nil means, I'm going to cover it in a later course. And then over here you can see I made a comment saying changes the sky to half day. Then after that's finished, after the moon has gone down behind the mountains, we know that the first initial animation is finished. So we say open no parentheses, finished, and then we say in. Don't worry exactly what this code means. Sometimes there's just no explanation to these codes. You just need to know this is the format and the way to write it. So if you just copy this code exactly as it is, I'm guaranteed your app will work. So then say self dot, it's the same code as before essentially, self dot astro object or image. So we're saying let the new astro object image now become an image called sun, and obviously in the assets folder sun is basically the sun. You can see in the comment does say changes the moon to the sun. And then essentially from now it's just a matter of copying and pasting, because now in this one here we had the moon go down, now we want the sun to come up. So it's just the same thing, copy and paste it, and I've said let the time of day a duration of 1.8 seconds, so I've made it a bit faster when it comes back up. The same fading in option, sorry, not when it comes up, when it changes to daytime, I've said let it do a transition cross dissolve, which is essentially the same as fading in, and I'm saying you need to animate the image of time of day into new day, which over here we said is just day, so it changes from a half day to day. That's basically the code version of saying what I, how I mentioned the night sky changing to half day and then half day changing to a brand new broad daylight. So that's all that line of code does, and you can see here I have made another comment saying it animates the sky to daytime. So then the next line I say UI_view.animate with duration 1 second. So here I want the moon, so the moon has already changed the sun in this code here. So that's what this code does, it changes the moon into the sun. And then over here I say I want to animate another view with duration 1 second. So I want it to last another 1 second, and during this second I want the hello world text, which is currently hidden, so this is the .isHidden attribute, and I want to say it's false. So at the moment it's true, because remember we checked the box that said is hidden. So when we say false, it unchecks the box, and now the hello world text then appears. And then we also, what we want to do is set the astro object frame, which is the position where it is on the screen. So it's the sun is currently at this coordinate here, because this animation drops the sun down to this x and y coordinate, and now we want to bring it up to its original position, which is 181 and 220. And this time we want the sun to be a bit bigger than the moon, because due to the image I've given you, it's better to have the sun a bit bigger than the moon. So I'm going to put a width and a height of 79 and 79. And then, these are just the closing brackets, and then I say a comment saying this is where my wake up button ends. So I'm not sure if you caught it, but when I was speeding through, I created a wake up button and I accidentally deleted one of these curly brackets. And what that meant is that I couldn't exactly find out why there was an error until I added this curly bracket at the end here, which closes off this curly bracket here. So whatever you want to do, you want to make sure all the curly brackets have a corresponding opposing curly bracket, so that the code will run smoothly. I'm sorry about that. So that's it. So what you want to do is click run. Once it runs, open the simulator, and then you can see here's the app. The status bar is not there, the moon is as it is, and then you click wake up, it disappears, and hello world text. And now obviously you might have seen, but the moon didn't go behind the mountain, it went in front of the mountain and then back up to the sun. I did this on purpose just to show you how it works. So if you just saw very carefully, the moon goes all the way down here, changes to the sun, and then comes back up. So that's what's happening, but it's going to happen behind this mountain. I'm going to show you how to make it behind the mountain now. Just go into your storyboard, it's very simple. Select your view controller, and then you can see here that the astro object, which is the moon, needs to be behind the mountain. The mountain we've called is the base, so the mountain is essentially called the base. So we move the moon behind the base by just dragging a drop, and now you can see the moon has completely disappeared, and we don't want that. In fact, we want the time of day, so the night sky, to be behind the moon. There we go. So we run it again. Actually, let me just explain it one more time. So this is the base, this is the mountain, and we've set the astro object, which is the moon, to be between the mountain and the night sky. So this time when it goes down, it's going to go behind the mountain. So we play it again. Wake up, and it goes behind the mountain, changes to half day, comes back up as the sun, and it says hello world.